Hi, it's Colin Cowherd. I started The Volume to bring you some of the most authentic voices in sports. While you're here, make sure you hit subscribe. Thanks. All right, so the Cincinnati Bengals are Super Bowl bound. It's interesting, the knock on Mahomes when he came out of college, and we've seen this for two extended periods for Patrick Mahomes in the NFL, where he's gone in these 6 to 7 game slumps where mechanically he's off. He just sort of loses his mojo. This was a prime example of him losing it in a game. He went from brilliant 18 for 21 in the first half to off in the second half to incredibly tight in overtime. He really regressed. And for all the greatness of Patrick Mahomes, he was out-dueled by Burrow. He got tight, Burrow got right, and there's your ball game. And that's really something we've talked about over and over with Mahomes. One of the reasons he didn't go number 1, 2, 3, or 4, and the Chiefs moved up to get him, was his mechanical issues, his footwork. He can be very much an ad-libber, and you got to get him right. You got to coach him up. And we've seen multiple times in his career. This year he had about a 7-game stretch where they were really struggling at home to beat teams like the New York Giants. But I thought in the second half he had open throws. He gets reluctant. It gets in his head. And then in overtime he almost threw a pick 6. So, when Patrick Mahomes came out and won his first Super Bowl, I cautioned everybody. I said, you understand eventually you're going to have to pay him. You're going to lose coordinators. It looks like the AFC has these emerging young star quarterbacks, and now you see it. Burrow out-dueled him. Joe Cool, who I think, what is the stat? He is 8-0 in the 8 biggest games of his career, Joe Burrow. I did think there was something interesting. I'm not sure how many of you noticed it. When Mixon had that big run that set up the field goal and he fell to the ground, he was never touched. And he got up and put the ball on the ground. That's supposed to be a fumble. He was never touched. Is that me? Or did nobody else see that? Be that as it may, refs didn't catch it, and the Bengals win. I thought once again, Mahomes, Kansas City, when they are rolling, they have the best knockout punch, the best home run hitters in the NFL, along with the Buffalo Bills. But both Buffalo and Kansas City this year showed a propensity to get off their game and have these jagged little spikes throughout the course of the season. And we saw early in the year Mahomes struggled, their running game disappeared, and after that first half, I thought Cincinnati was baked. But listen, if this is not an advertisement for get the quarterback right, I don't know what is. What was Zach Taylor's record? 625-1 before Burrow. It's the worst offensive line in the playoffs. Was probably the worst overall roster, in my opinion, in last week's divisional round. Just get the quarterback right. And that's why Josh McDaniels leaves New England and takes the Raiders' job. He's got Derek Carr. He's got Derek Carr. Derek Carr, some weapons, decent protection. You go in a lot of games in this league. And as Brian Daboll took the New York Giants job this week, my thought was, well, if the Mara family makes him retain Daniel Jones, in 2 or 3 years, Brian Daboll's in trouble. So Burrow's just a special player. He didn't have the biggest arm. He's not the most athletic scrambler of the football, but there's something to be said about situational excellence. He plays with a ton of confidence. Listen, we better stop doubting the Bengals. I thought Kansas City was a better team. I thought Buffalo was a better team. I think the Rams have a better roster. I think San Francisco's got a better overall roster. But the rules are all in place. Now, I do worry about the Bengals losing their tight end for the Super Bowl, their starting tight end. That is a concern. But I think this one's on Mahomes. I think he was clearly and visibly off, reluctant, and tight in the second half and overtime. And so this is part of his legacy now too. Every quarterback over the course of time, Brady had bad Sundays, Brady had bad playoff games. This was a really rough look for Mahomes. Can't put it on Andy Reid. It was a really rough look for Patrick Mahomes to me in the second half and in overtime. You could just tell. You've watched enough football. I've watched enough football. In that red zone situation, he just would not pull the trigger. 3 different plays. He just ran around. He was totally reluctant to spin it and let it go. So congrats to the Bengals. I'm off to watch the Rams and Niners at SoFi.